Good evening, everybody. The Music Fan is back, bringing smiles to the faces, knowledge to the people, and most importantly, music to the masses. And I am back with another Are You In? This time taking a look at Bad Wolves' first album entitled Disobey. Now, for those of you who don't know who Bad Wolves are, they are a heavy metal slash hard rock slash groove metal group from Los Angeles, California. Members include Tommy Vext on lead vocals, Doc Coyle on lead guitar and backing vocals, Chris Kane on rhythm guitar, Kyle Knickel on bass guitar and backing vocals, and John Becklin on drums and percussion. Now, if you haven't heard of this band, no worries. This is their first album after all, though they are also somewhat familiar faces. Now, I don't really know any of them in particular, but apparently, as Wikipedia calls them, they are a metal supergroup. Tommy Vex being from Divine Heresy, Snot, and Westfield Massacre. John Becklin originally being from Devil Driver. Doc Coyle was originally from God Forbid. Rhythm guitarist Chris Kane was on Bury Your Dead and also for The Fallen Dreams. And bassist Kyle Knickel was on In This Moment and Scar the Martyr and Vimic. Also, this band is produced by Zoltan Bathory of Five Finger Death Punch. So there's a lot of experience in the metal field, even though I don't really know any of these people. If any of you do know who some of these bands are, please let me know, because I would be interested in knowing if I should check out these bands or not. Where you may have heard them is a cover of Zombie by Cranberries that they had dropped at the beginning of the year. And they were supposed to work with the lead singer of the Cranberries before she unfortunately passed away. So I have been seeing this particular song all over YouTube, and I was like, you know what, I want to check it out. Heard their rendition of it, thought it was a good rendition, and when it came time to start looking into albums to listen, I decided, you know what, let's give this album a shot. So, what do I think about it? The biggest things that stand out are lyrical content and the actual feel of this band. When I first started listening to them with Zombie, I thought they were going to be more of a hard rock-ish slash a little bit metal along those lines of like Five Finger Death Punch, if you will. And I found it to be a lot more different than that. This is very brutal, very in-your-face speed metal slash groove metal, if you will. A lot of really interesting guitar work, a lot of very fast-paced guitar work, a lot of really awesome drums and double bass pedal work. You get some of your standard, very fast drum work on songs like Toast to the Ghost, on the first song, Officer Down, on Learn to Live, on Run for Your Life, Better the Devil, Jesus Slaves, Truth or Dare, The Conversation, and Shapeshifter. All of them have this very hectic, fast-paced sound to it. And it makes for some very interesting arrangements, some very interesting guitar lines, some that are strummed out, some that are kind of echoed over so that you can hear more of each particular part. The other cool thing about a lot of these arrangements is the color changes are very interesting on parts, where you get Officer Down where it is in G minor, but and all the screaming on that song is in G minor, but the actual sung vocals are in E flat. Also, Learn to Live, where you have this G minor part with the verses, and then it goes into F minor for the choruses. Same thing on No Masters. They have the same idea of transition between G minor and F minor. There's a G minor idea in Run for Your Life, but it also has this transition between G minor and D flat at the bridge part. Better the Devil is mostly in G major with this G, F, A flat chord progression, and then an E minor part in the bridge. There's a lot of really, really interesting ideas on here that I don't usually hear in a band or an album like this, especially with this speed metal idea like Five Finger Death Punch, like Killswitch Engage. These bands that are in that vein, I don't really hear the experimentation that this band does. A song like Shapeshifter has a lot of really different color ideas. The conversation, it has a part where it's this awesome C minor, A flat, F minor, D flat line where you're going, so that's the 1 minor, the flat 6, the 4 minor, and the flat 2. A really cool staple that I hear a lot in jazz songs, not in this type of music. And I think the culmination of this experimentation comes on Truth or Dare, where you have the song being mostly in C minor, but then also transitions to A flat, E, and F minor in the chorus. And the timing of it is actually interesting too, where you have a 6/8 feel in the verse and a 10/4 feel in the chorus. And it even brings back that C minor, A flat, F minor, D flat idea in the bridge. So a lot of really cool ideas when this band is on point, and makes for some very interesting melodies, makes for some very interesting rhythmic ideas, especially on songs like Learn to Live and Officer Down, the rhythmic vocal parts where they're screaming. Really, really cool ideas. On Better the Devil, that whole chorus has some awesome rhythmic ideas. And there's a lot of really good screaming on here. I'm not a huge fan of screaming, but I really, really like a lot of the stuff on here. The screaming on here works really well. I think it's also because of the fast-pacedness of a lot of these verses. Now, not every song is particularly just speed metal, groove metal. There are some slower songs, Zombie of course being one of them. I think the arrangement's done very well because it contrasts very nicely. Yes, it's a typical heavy metal, like a hard rock song if you will, but at the same time, there's an interesting idea at the beginning with the verses where it's a little bit just more sparse in nature with just the piano. And then it transitions into this heavier rock sound. And there's some really good harmonies on the chorus. I will say there is one lyric that doesn't work very well, and it's them trying to change up this song for the idea of 2018, which is fine. But I think it's with their guns and their bombs and their drones, which is like, okay, why are you repeating bomb? You could have had another word in there. But a really, really interesting arrangement and a nice one that brings this song into nowadays. No Masters is another one that's a little bit slower, and this is where I get to show off Tommy Vex's singing, and he's a really, really good singer. The fact that Tommy Vex can hit a B flat, a high B flat, no problem on a lot of these songs, especially on No Masters or Run for Your Life, where he hits a high D, like a really high D in his voice. It shows that he has the power to do a lot of this stuff. And No Masters being one of these slower songs where he gets to show off his range and his power, it's really good. Some of these other songs are slower, not as good honestly. The other two ones that are slow are the other two singles. Remember When? It's kind of a standard hard rock song. Same thing with Hear Me Now. It's a duet with Diamante, and it's a serviceable song, but neither of these two are breaking ground, especially on such an interesting album with so many interesting arrangements. Remember When, very, very standard hard rock song, and Hear Me Now is a very standard hard rock duet. Honestly, Hear Me Now feels the most out of place on this album, if you will, but we'll get to a reason for that in a minute. But like I said, another standout thing is Tommy Vex's voice. The fact that he can hit so many interesting high notes and have so much power, but also be able to be understated at points. Going back to Run for Your Life, it's a very understated feel at the beginning with the guitar, and it lets Tommy have a quieter beginning before jumping into the chorus, which has so much power. Even on Remember When, he gets to be understated as well. And Hear Me Now, he gets to show off his vocal chops with a duet, and the duet sounds good. Honestly, he is another standout part of this, where he not only is the singer, but he's also the screamer, and he can move in between both very well, especially on Officer Down, on Learn to Live, on Better the Devil. All these he gets to play both parts pretty well and pretty seamlessly. The other really interesting part about a lot of this album is the lyrical content. A lot of this being about present day America and what's going on in this country, especially with police brutality. If you see the cover of the album, which you've already probably seen, Disobey, with a police officer on the front. These people aren't messing around when it comes to their content. Right from the beginning, we're talking about a song called Officer Down, which is talking about police brutality. Then Learn to Live is talking about trying to get ahead in life in a country, in a world where it feels like everyone's trying to take advantage of you and trying to systematically put you in a place that you don't want to be. No Masters is talking about breaking the chains of societal racism. Zombie may have had a different meaning in the Cranberries version, but the way I take this one is about being unaware of or just ignorant about the world around you and all the things that are going wrong with it, like a zombie just mindlessly going forward while everyone else is fighting around and not being able to see or being able to help run for your life. It has pretty much a message about running away from police or running away from an enemy, because if they get you, you might not be able to survive. Jesus Slaves, which is either, I'm kind of a little bit up in the air on this one, but it's either about doing bad things that you can't be atoned for and blaming others for the actions of it, or the hypocritical actions of some religious zealots out there who cherish the lives of everyone else, but do horrible things to minorities. The conversation is literally the conversation about what's going on in this world and the United States, and talking about that we need to have the conversation. Toast for the Ghost is talking about the hypocritical actions of a lot of Americans who support the military and the flag without actually helping veterans get what they need after they fight the war. There's a lot of big issues on this album, a lot of the ones that I never hear on metal albums, and I think it's a really, really cool thing to be able to see it, and from the get-go, and so in your face. The brashness of this music matches the brashness of the tone of the lyrics. Now, I will say it's not always about that. There is some kind of cliche songs on here, Shapeshifter being one of them, about a person that changes in a relationship from good to bad and good and bad and over and over and over again. Truth or Dare is about lusting for someone and not getting them out of their mind. Hear Me Now is about Tommy's love for someone. I don't know if it's Diamante or if it's someone else, but it's a pretty standard love song. Better the Devil is about a relationship that's hurting both people involved. Remember When is actually a very interesting one. It's about Tommy's relationship with his twin brother, who they both kind of grew up without their parents and kind of went their separate ways, and how they reconvened in 2012. And the story about that is his brother basically stole from Tommy and tried to kill him. And now his brother's in jail, and basically Tommy Vex was left for dead. And this is the story about what happened there. All of these songs have some pretty good lyrics. The only ones not doing so well are Shapeshifter, Truth or Dare, and Hear Me Now. Kind of standard songs. But again, this is a very interesting and very in-depth, very smart metal album with some smart lyrics, some very poignant lyrics, some very interesting arrangements. If you're up for all of that and are willing to digest what's going on there, it's a very, very solid metal album and a good first album from this band. I will say some of these arrangements are somewhat interesting. You know, a lot of very interesting chord progression. So if you are someone who's a little bit more standard with their metal, it might not be for you. But if you are looking for something new in the metal scene, definitely check them out. Listen to it at least once. That is my recommendation. Listen to it once and see where it goes from there. I will say this is an album that the singles aren't that great, but I think the whole entire album makes up for that. So that is my time. Thank you so much for watching. If you do like this album, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, share this with your friends, comment on what you think about this album or other albums from 2018 I can review, and just keep on watching my videos. So this has been a little bit of another weird week, another one where I haven't had as much internet access as I would like. So this is coming out today. Hopefully tomorrow I will be back with my first part of Digging Through Discography with a new band, and then I'll be back with another Are You In? Kind of on the same vein as this one. You probably have never heard of this band. Who knows? I'm just going to do my hipster glasses right now. Say you probably have never heard of this band. And if you have, good for you. You're going to be ready for this one then. But it's just letting you know, it's another kind of similar vein to this album. So keep an eye out for this. And until then, this is the Music Fan signing off. Peace.